Surprise, I'm still here. Now, seriously, I had so much fun doing the poetry challenge that I decided to see how long I could keep this up. But not just talking about poetry, but just talking about writing in general. And one of the inspirations behind this thought to talk about writing in general was the weekend that I did last weekend, which you can see the videos of in Tulsa. I went with a bunch of Fright Club friends of mine, which is a writers organization that we're all a part of. And there was just so many questions about writing. Like we just all kept sharing everything that we knew about craft. And so I was like, you know what? I could see that. Well, last night I jotted down, I was considering doing this every day for however long, no commitments, however long it lasts. Um, but I was kind of jotting down some ideas like, writing, would there really be enough to talk about every day for maybe a year? And so I started jotting down my ideas. And yes, there was so much I almost couldn't sleep. I'm on number 46. And then I know some notes that I started doing on my phone. Then I've got this, which is a piece of scratch paper that I was doing over coffee. But yeah, there's so much to talk about. And then, yeah, so just hang in there. This is going to be a daily thing. It's going to be every day. I say noon. Today I'm a little bit late because I was over there talking with Space and Time magazine founders, and you can see Space and Time right there. There. It's always so difficult to see where you're pointing. Space and Time magazine, which I publish, but I got to be on B Cubed this Sunday morning with Gordon Linsner, the founder of Space and Time magazine, and Hildy Silverman. So that was super awesome. I didn't know what time I was going to be able to get back here and do this. So that's why I say noon-ish. It's the noon hour at some point while you are perhaps having lunch. If you're in CST time, Central Time Zone, that's when this will happen, but most likely around noon CST. I don't think I was really late at all during the poetry challenge. So, I mean, other than a few minutes here and there. So I think that noon Central Time Zone is a really good time for me. But anyways, who cares about all that? That's the details that you can find in the description below. I'm Angela, and let's get into the topic, which, as you probably noticed, is you can write poetry. And we're going to do that right now. I love when I can inspire somebody who maybe is interested in writing poetry but thinks they can't write poetry to write poetry. And I'm going to boast a little bit. Two of my favorite latest baby poet successes is Genevieve Flynn and Lee Murray. Lee Murray had written a few poems before, and she was still like kind of getting into the idea of writing poetry. And Genevieve Flynn had never written a poem before. And her response to let's write a poetry book together, the four of us, which is right there, Tortured Willows, which is up for a Bram Stoker finalist right now. So I think they did okay. And Lee Murray, both of them were finalists for poetry in that collection for an Australian award, of which the exact name of I am ignorant. The Auroralis Award. Anyways, excuse my ignorance. Despite marrying an Australian. But anyways, yeah, so I think they did pretty good with that. And so I claim that. I'm so proud of them. And they were honestly both natural, but I believe everybody is a natural poet. And so right now, right here live, we are going to write a poem using the same exact advice I told Genevieve, which is if you've never written a poem before, start with structure, because then when you have basically a framework, you can kind of knit your poem into there and the creativity. Otherwise, it's just the blank page can be too intimidating. So, pantoums. If you are trying to write a pantoum, you will find a lot of conflicting information. I have seen the pantoum form all over the place. I have two conflicting ones right here. So I say go with whichever one you feel comfortable with. I am going to use the Poet's Glossary by Edward Munch, which is kind of like the Let me do this. Remove that. This is kind of like, and this is a library discard copy. I did not steal this. This was gifted to me by a friend, withdrawn from a public library. These are very hard to find. So thank you, Amy. I still love this book. But yeah, so this is what I'm going to go by, the Poet's Glossary, because Edward Hirsch has kind of been the deciding factor, or he's kind of like one of the final words on what is and what is not a poetry form. Excellent book if you ever have a get a chance to get a hold of it. I'll actually, after this, I will put a link to it in the chat or in the description. You can get a updated version of this. And you can find that on ebook. So definitely worth it. So if you're wanting to get into poetry, start here and start with form. So he says, the Malayan pantoum, the Western pantoum adapts a long-standing form of oral Malayan poetry, pantun. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. I am sorry. That first entered written language in the 15th century. The most basic form of the pantun is a quatrain with an A-B rhyme scheme. Every line contains between 8 and 12 syllables. Now, the pantoums that I've seen don't have a rhyme scheme, the ones that I've worked with, and they do not have 8 to 12 syllables in the lines. I've just seen it as a repeating line pattern. So that's what I'm going to go with right now. But do pick up a copy of the Poet's Glossary and check out what Edward Hirsch has to say on it. But he says here, we've got his rhyme scheme. Let's see if that, boop. He says it is A, B, C, D, B, E, D, F, E, G, F, H. I'm going to explain that in a minute. But you will see over here, this person is using 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 5, 4, 6, or basically A, B, C, D, B. Anyways, I should have done that before, like translated these both to the same. But anyways, you can see that they're actually repeating their lines differently. So I've set it up here to do a pantoum together right now, live. And I'm going by the Poet's Glossary pattern of the lines. So basically, if you want to write a pantoum, you're really writing one stanza. You can handle that. You're writing one stanza and then you are repeating 2 of those lines. So the next stanzas, you're only writing half of a stanza, which is one reason why I like to suggest pantoums. And they almost write themselves. So let's get going on this, and we're going to write a pantoum together. Today is May 1st, and it's Beltane. So I'm going to say, I'll actually leave the letters so we can see them. Blessed Beltane to you. There's my first line. We're already a fourth of the way there. And then because Beltane is the fire festival, I'm going to put something about spring and fire. May the spring fires warm your, and we'll just go with heart because we're trying to do this relatively fast. May the spring fires warm your heart. New beginnings and fresh starts. There is always another chance. I don't know what I mean by that. I actually don't like that line. New beginnings and fresh starts. Gratitude to the sun, the warmth. All right, so I'm just kind of came up with whatever off the top of my head. So then I'm going to take this line, which is B, copy it. It is now the first line of this one. And then down here where we have D, this is line D, copy, and I'm putting it under D. So now I have these two lines to write. May the spring fires warm your heart. I want to keep using flame and fire because then it's going to get kind of repetitive. But let's say the spring fires warm your heart. Share the warmth with the world. That's a good message. And then let's see, F, share the warmth with the world, gratitude. Oh, I used warmth again. So this is where the crafty part comes in. So I don't want to say necessarily warmth. Share the love. Light, we'll say light. Share the light with the world, gratitude to the sun for the warmth. Blessings shared are blessings grown. All right, so we have our second stanza done. And so then we go here, E, that second line becomes the first line over here, and then F becomes the third line. The fourth line becomes the third line. This can get kind of complicated. Oh, my husband had a great idea when he was working on poetry, and he created a spreadsheet. And that was a really good idea. I'm not that talented, so I'm going to just do the old school, non-talented way. So now I have more lines to share, more lines to write. So share the light with the world. The darkness makes it brighter. Shadows. We'll say shadows. Darkness is actually one of the words that I overuse. The shadows make it brighter. Blessings shared are blessings. Should have put an S there. Blessings grown. All right. All you give away returns threefold. And so now you can see we've kind of come to the end of that. I'm going to do another line. For some reason, my pantoums always wind up being about 4 stanzas. So I'm going to go with the same thing. It is the second line becomes the first. So my second line here is going to start this next stanza. So that is, what did I just do? I confuse myself all the time. Okay, yes, G. Confuse myself with pantoums. And then this will be F. B, D. D, third line. Yep, that's what I just want to make sure. F. So this will be F and F. So you can see how this poem kind of writes itself, and we're not even trying here. So this is H, this is I, and this is J. Whoops. J. And so let's wrap it up here with 2 more lines. The blessings always make it brighter. And I have read that it should always end with the beginning. So we'll go ahead and honor that here because that would be a nice way to do it. And I frequently do that. And so now we're just thinking of this second line. The shadows make it brighter. Like the dandelion, may you grow your blah, blah, blah. Like the dandelion. What about dandelions? May you... Right on cue, my dog chokes. It's okay, Dante. He's got allergies. Like the dandelion, may you May your roots run deep. May your roots run deep. Okay. So, boom. And you can see this is a poem. Just wrote it live. Not really trying to do anything fantastic and creative here, but this is how easy it is. And now you get in there and you start polishing things up. And as long as you stick with these, the lines being where they're supposed to be, so if you change it up here in B, you have to change it here. You will wind up with this pantoum. And so that's what Genevieve started with. And her pantoum, When the Girls Began to Fall, was just nominated it was a finalist for that Australian award, the Aurealis. So that's pretty impressive. Now, Jean is a wonderful writer anyways, and so all credit to Jean. But there's no reason that all of us cannot be writing poetry. And so this is the poem I just wrote with you. A blessed Beltane to you. May the fire... It would help if I could read. A blessed Beltane to you. May the spring fires warm your heart. New beginnings and fresh starts. Gratitude to the sun for the warmth. May the spring fires warm your heart. Share the light with the world. Gratitude to the sun for the warmth. Blessings shared are blessings grown. Share the light with the world. The shadows make it brighter. Blessings shared are blessings grown. All you give away returns threefold. The shadows make it brighter. Like the dandelion, may your roots run deep. Blessings shared are blessings grown. Blessed Beltane to you. And that is a pantoum that we just wrote together. I'd love to do this someday with just taking maybe chat comments and we build this together. This is one reason why I want to keep doing this daily thing, because it's been really fun. And I personally have grown a lot from doing this. And I'm going to keep these all about 20 minutes. We're not going to go too heavy, like anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. But every day, share your lunch with me. Let's sit down and talk about writing. It won't always be poetry. Tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a review of the newsletter, the Horror Writers Association newsletter, which you only have access to if you're a member of the Horror Writers Association. But I do have permission to share it as a review, and I can share what's in that, and also like how to be a member if you write dark fiction or poetry, and what a good benefit that is. Some of the other things we will be looking at is how to make a one-page pocketbook, which, if you have been around at all, we've been talking about those things, both me and Amy Zollers, over this past week through National Poetry Month. I'm also going to do a series of publishing with Author Papyrus, which I have started a class on. And halfway through my class, they did an update, and now there's just way more benefits and tools. So I've got to refilm the class, which I guess is always the danger, which is one reason why I've decided to just do it here. Every day I can show a little bit about Author Papyrus and what I'm doing with it. StokerCon is coming up, so I'll be sharing that during StokerCon. That day I'll be doing StokerCon. One of my favorite hacks, if I ever feel like I just can't focus or I just can't get anything written, binaural beats. I'll be sharing that. Book crossing, both for marketing and just for fun. How to make ink. I've been looking at this. How to make a quill pen. That is another thing that I've been looking at. Writing is therapy, writing with purpose, handmade chapbooks. I'm going to see if Amy Zollers will come on with me there and show me some of the amazing books that she's been doing. How to format an ebook, performance skills, using tarot for story plot, little free libraries, book bans and censorship, submission grinder reviews, formatting basics, book signing hacks, critique groups, free resources for writers, branding, marketing. I've got a wonderful friend named Leah that does marketing, and she's amazing at it. And so I'm going to see if I can convince her to come over here. I want to interview some bookstagrammers and reviewers. BookBub Kajabi review, using the issue magazine thing, ISBNs, how to claim your Amazon profile. Okay, and I'll stop there because the list goes on to 46 there, plus this paper, plus whatever I sent myself in my email last night as I was trying to fall asleep. So that's what's coming up. Tomorrow we'll be doing a review on the Horror Writers Association's newsletter that comes out every month, which is a great resource. The team that puts that together is amazing. Yeah, so anyways, that'll be tomorrow. I will be posting that up. I might try to schedule these since I'm in here. I'm doing this. I'm going to try to start scheduling these a week out so you can see what is coming up. And that's it. I'm going to go look at the B Cubed interview and see how that turned out. That was so much fun to get together with my fellow publishers of Space and Time magazine, Gordon and Hildy. And I am going to plan out what is coming up this week. Super excited to do this. I'm just calling it Exercise Your Rights because I love the pun. Yeah, I'm really bad like that. Love the pun, and it's a pun I've been using for a while now on my blog and so on. So I'm just going to use that as the title of this series. And we're going to go on for however long. This is day 31. Still going. All right, goodbye. I will see you tomorrow for your lunch. In the meantime, make sure you're doing wonderful writing things.